Welcome back, aliens. My name is Navin Reddy, and let's continue with the series on Python. Now, to this point, we have talked about OOPS concept, right, in which we have seen inheritance, right? Now, what is inheritance? If you already have some classes and if you want to use the existing features, you will simply say class B, which will take the features from A, right? So class B inherits A. Or you can go with a concept of multiple inheritance, where one class will extend from two different classes or more than two classes, right? So in this case, we have class A, class B, and then we have class C, which has a feature 5, but it is also inheriting A and B. So we can say C has 5 features, right? So that makes sense. Now what we'll do in this video is we'll talk about two topics. The first one is the constructor in inheritance, how it behaves. And we'll also talk about method resolution order, or you can say MRO. So let's start with the constructor. Time being, let's ignore C, okay? So let's say we don't have this C, so we'll ignore that part. And in fact, we'll delete that part for time being. And let's focus only on A and B, where B is inheriting A, okay? So in total in B, we have 4 features, right? Now what happens is, if I create an object of A, so let's say if I say A1 is equal to constructor of A, so this will work, right? So when you say A bracket, that's a constructor, it will call a method which is in it. Now, even if you don't define it, it is there somewhere, right? But let me define my own constructor, own init here. So I will say def, and we'll define the init method, and this init method will print one stuff. So let me say print in a init. Nothing much, we are not doing anything extra here, we are just printing in a init, that's it. Now what do you think, what it will print? Of course, we are creating object of A, right? So it will only execute A. See, with the object of A, you cannot access features of B, okay? So even if I try, example, if I say A1 dot, you can only access feature 1 and feature 2. But yes, if you have an object of B, you can access all the features, right? Features from A and B, because B is a subclass and A is superclass. And as I mentioned, subclass can access all the features from superclass, but that's not vice versa, right? A superclass cannot access all the features of subclass, not even one feature of subclass. Okay, this is fun. Now, what if I create object of B? So I'm not getting object of A here, I'm getting object of B. Doesn't matter what is A1 or B1. Important is, if I create an object B, will it call the constructor? That's the question, because we are not getting object of A, we are getting object of B. Will it call the constructor of A? That's the question. Let me just run this code and it works, okay? So even if you have the object of B, it will still call the constructor of A, right? That's how it works. But what if you have your own constructor? What if you have your own init method? Example in B. See, in B, we don't have that init, right? And that's why it's going up. So let me repeat. Since we don't have init inside B, that's why it is going to A. But what if you already have a init with you? So I will simply copy paste here in B. So both have init, but then in this, I will print in B init, right? So in A, we are printing in A init. In B, we are printing in B init. So this makes sense. Now, if I run this code, what it will print? Will it print in A init or in B init? Of course, right? If you are creating object of B, it should only call the init of B, right? And let's see if that works. And let me just run this code, and we are right. So when you run the code, you can see we only got in B init. So that means if you create an object of B, first it will try to find the init of B. If it is not there, then it will go for A. Okay, that's the point you have to remember. But what if you also want to call the init of A? Is it possible? I mean, if I create object of B, can I call the init of both the classes? I mean, A and B. See, by default, it will call only B, right? What if I want to call A as well? And that's where we have a very special keyword or a method you can say, and that is super. So with the help of super, so you can say super, and it's a method basically. So you will say super dot. The moment you say super, you can access all the features of the parent class. So we can say super dot init. So what we are doing is we are trying to call a init method of class A. So the moment you say super, you are representing the super class, okay, which is, in this case, it is A. So we are trying to call the init method of class A. That's important. And now let's run this code, and you can see we got both the output. We got in A int and we got in B int. So point to remember is, when you create object of B, it will call the init of B first, and then from the init of B, you are trying to call the init of A. So it will jump up, it will execute the init of A first, which will print in A init, and then it will come back to print in B init. Okay, that's why we got the output. So this makes sense. So we can work with constructor in inheritance, right? Now let me add a twist here. So what I will do is, I will remove this super from here. Let's clean it. And I will not even say that this is B. So class A and class B two different things, okay? They're not linked with each other. But then we have class C. As we have done earlier, we'll say class C, and class C will inherit both the classes A and B, okay? And now if I say def and init, you know, right, what we are trying to do here. First of all, we'll print in C init, okay? And then I will create object of C. So there's no object of A and B, I'm trying to object of C. Now what do you think? Will it call the init of C or A or B? Of course, right, when you say the object is of C, it will call the init of C only. Let's run this code, and that's right, we got the output as in C init. So this works perfectly. But what if you want to call the init method of a superclass? But there's a twist here. Now C has two superclasses, right? One is A and B. The moment you say super dot init, now what do you think? Which init it will call? Will it call the init of A or B? That's a question. Let's run this and let's see what happens. The moment you run this code, you can see it says in A init. That means we are unfair here. We are biased towards A. We are not taking B here, right? This is completely wrong. Oh, but the thing is, we have a concept of MRO, which is method resolution order. So what happens is, whenever you have this multiple inheritance, it will always start from left to right. Which means, so the moment you say init, it will try to find the init of itself. So since we have init here, it will execute the init of C. Then the moment you say super.init, now we have two classes, right? A and B. And on the left hand side we have A, and on the right hand side we have B. So it will prefer left one first. So it goes from left to right. And that's something you have to remember. It's always from left to right, okay? And that's why we got in A init. The same thing can be done for methods. Example, let's say we have two methods which are same. So in this case, you can see we have feature 1 in A and feature 1 in B. Both are the same methods with the same name, of course. And in this, I will print some different message. Here I will print feature 1A, and here I will say feature 1B. That means the feature 1 is in A and feature 1 is in B. And now if I try to call, so I will say A1.feature1. Will it call from A or B? That's a question, and we know the answer, right? It will always call from A because it goes from left to right, and you can see the output. So this is something you have to remember, which is the concept of method resolution order. So basically in this video we have talked about three things. The first one is how constructor behaves in inheritance. The second one is how to use that super method. And the third one is MRO, which is method resolution order. Now, in fact, with the help of super method, can we call a function? Let's see that. So let's say we have a function here, which is def, and I will say feature, feed, that's it. And in this, I'm trying to call the method of superclass, right? So we can say super dot, and we can use that thing, okay? So you can say super dot feature 2, and let's see if it is working. Let me call feature, it should call the feature 2. So yes, it works. So you can also use super method to call other methods as well, not just init. So to represent this super class, we use super method, okay? So that's how you have to remember. So that's it from this video. I hope you are enjoying this series. Let me know in the comment section, and do subscribe for further videos. Bye-bye.